In today's video, we're going to be unboxing and taking a first look and giving some first impressions about these, the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite version 3, and we've got them in the brand new white and pure magenta colorway. This box literally came through the post about 15 minutes ago, so I am going to be sharing with you my first impressions and thoughts. Then I'm going to take them out for a run and I'll come back and share with you some of my thoughts and impressions about how these compare to some of the other super shoes that you can see beside me in my shoe rotation. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, the box it comes in. Now I know this makes absolutely no difference to the performance of the super shoe at all, but it does give you a great first impression. And for the most part, if you're not a big shoe influencer on YouTube, then generally you just get a cardboard coloured box, very generic and very standard, no matter whether it's a pair coming from Asics or whether it's a pair coming from Nike, whoever. So this actual box that you get here, that has all of this design on it, and it says faster across the front. And just some of the detail on it helps it stand out really from the crowd, because your first impressions do matter, and getting these through the post, and like any super shoes are very expensive, so it is nice to have a first impression of something that just feels a little bit more premium than perhaps some of the other boxes and things that you get with other super shoes. Okay, so let's take a look inside. So we have the usual protective paper with the Forever Faster motive on it. We have the two super shoes here, so we'll get them out and take a look. And then on the left hand side, on the inside of the box, we've got a motive from Puma, which says Puma running has been race day designed for innovation, which is in our DNA. The only thing we believe about boundaries is that they exist to be exceeded. Fueled by nitro, propelled by power plate, Puma makes racing shoes to break barriers and shatter records. How fast will these shoes take you? Forever faster. Okay, so taking these out of the box and first impressions, I really like the colorway, the kind of magenta color at the back, rolling slowly into this neon yellow color. We've got the white upper. It is a brilliant white. It looks a little bit pink, at least to the human eye, because the insole is pink as well, so we're kind of seeing through that. The upper looks very breathable. It's the ultra weave design. Looks and feels a little bit like the design of the upper of the Asics Metaspeed Paris, if you've ever had a chance to try those. In terms of the colorway, really like this, and actually for my shoe rotation, as I just shown, it seems that a lot of the shoe manufacturers are going for this kind of colorway at the moment, because we've also got a very similar colorway on the Asics Metaspeed Sky and Edge Paris, which I have both of in that colorway. And this is going to be great for me because I am a big fan of the shoe socks that you can get for racing shoes, and they've just released a colorway to match the yellow, neon yellow, and the pink or the magenta that you get on this shoe, as well as we have on the Asics Metaspeed, and also we have this kind of pink colorway as well on the Vapofly 3. So that's going to at least be one area that might be able to save a little bit of money, although pales into insignificance when you look at the amount of money that we spend on these. But actually that's a good place to start, because this super shoe for the money is incredibly good value. Now obviously I've not actually run in these yet, so I haven't actually had the chance to run in them, but a lot of the respected shoe reviewers that I've seen that have reviewed these and run in these have given incredibly good impressions. And considering this super shoe sits at 195 British pounds compared to the likes of the Vapofly that is like 289 pounds, the value of these seems to be very good, and probably is one of the best value super shoes that you can get on the market right now for the rating and the way that people talk about it and just the impressions that people give of it. So I got these in a UK size 10. As I mentioned, I use my own money to purchase these. All of the shoes and things that I review on this channel, I always use my own money. Although that said, I have recently become a YouTube partner, and all of the views, comments, and just the people that subscribe to my channel are really helping. And the money that I'm actually getting, which is not very much, but the money that I am getting through my YouTube channel is actually going towards me purchasing more equipment, trainers, headphones, things like that I will review and give my feedback, my honest feedback, which is always honest, is always balanced. Let's get back to looking at these shoes. So the upper, as I mentioned, looks very breathable, almost kind of scratchy to touch. We've got the pink Puma logo Stack height at the back, we've got 40mm down to 32 at the front, so we've got an 8mm drop in these, which is pretty much the same as we get on the Nike Vapofly. Got these in a UK size 10, and they come in at 224 grams, which is very, very reasonable and light. And in fact, only the Metaspeed Sky and Edge Paris come in at slightly less. So this pair, also size 10, came in at 196 grams. And a pair of my Vapofly 3, for example, I believe come in at about 219 grams. So this is probably the third lightest super shoe in the category that I know of, at least at the moment. I'm going to exclude the Adidas Pro 1 from that, and I'm also excluding the spray-on cloud super shoe that has been designed, because it's pretty much unavailable and people can't get it. So all of my reviews are real consumer reviews, as I mentioned before, and I'm talking about shoes that the average consumer can get hold of. Although that said, I had to be quick in order to get these, because they've already sold out in the majority of sizes. If you take a look on websites like sportshoes.com, you might be able to find some sizes of this, but I think on the Puma website now that this has become out of stock, which seems to be a bit of a reoccurring theme for a lot of the super shoes at the moment, because also the Metaspeed Edge and Sky Paris are also almost impossible to get hold of, as are the Superblast 2, for example. In terms of first impressions, the outsole looks very, very good. The Puma grip on here, a lot of people have said how this is one of the very best grips in the category. Outside at the moment in the UK, it's very early in January, and we have temperatures of about -3 outside, up to about 0 during the day. I'm going to take these out this afternoon, so I will get a good chance to see what these perform like in conditions that may be a little bit icy. The midsole is kind of squidgy, but also not as squidgy as what you'd get in, for example, the Alphafly or the Vapofly. So there is some stiffness there. There seems to be a decent amount of, or at least additional amount of support through the ankle. So we've got a little bit of pushback and feedback there from the ankle. Not an awful lot of padding going on around the ankle there, but I don't think that that's going to be too much of an issue. We have a mild amount of padding on the tongue, so we'll see what that feels like and how that avoids any kind of top of the foot pain when you lace these up. I don't know anything about whether we're going to need a runner's knot or not in these yet, but the majority of people that I've seen review these have said that they don't get any heel slip, so that is good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take them out for a run, put them through a few various paces, and I'll come back to the office and tell you my first thoughts and whether I think these are a good, viable option for you compared to some of the other options that I have in my shoe rotation. So see you shortly. Okay, so I'm back now from my first and initial run in these, the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3, and I'm going to start by reminding you that I am not sponsored for this video. I bought these with my own money, and the reason I'm doing that is my initial thoughts are going to be overwhelmingly positive, so I need to remind you that I am under no duress or pressure to say anything about these. Puma have not asked me to say anything. All of the thoughts are my personal initial thoughts after my first run in this shoe. I did a 4.5 mile tempo run, running at a pace between 10k and half marathon pace, and these things felt fantastic. Just in terms of a few of the basics first, so this is a full carbon plate super shoe, and the carbon plate design is actually what I would call a low carbon plate design. So the actual carbon plate from the midsole dips down and goes through the forefoot at a much lower point than something like the Alphafly. So the most comparable super shoes that I know about compare with these is the Metaspeed Edge Paris, the Edge version, not the Sky, because you have the much lower plate design in these as well. And the other one to compare would be the Nike Vapofly 3 that also have this very low carbon plate design through the forefoot. And this gives you an enormous amount of propulsion. So the lightweight design of these, plus the other ones that I've just mentioned there, and that low carbon plate design through the forefoot means that there is much less foam between the road and the plate, but it also is very aggressive in nature. So it really pushes you through and keeps you moving through your stride really fast. So keeping your tempo and your number of strides quite high. So I am generally someone that has a fairly high cadence anyway, somewhere between 175 and 185, and these will get me to the top end of that. So in terms of my first impressions, I've got to say that these were without a doubt the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn for a first run. From the moment of putting these on, they've just felt like they fit perfectly. I wouldn't say that they're narrow, but they are probably more narrow than they are wide, if that kind of makes any sense. So for me, I'm quite a narrow foot person anyway, so for me these fit perfectly. I bought them true to size, so I am a size 10 in the UK. I bought these in a size 10 and they fit me perfectly. They are fairly snug through the forefoot here, but I would say that if I was to give anybody advice, go for your true to size. A few of the things that I noticed straight away. So the foam is definitely not as soft as what you'd get in some of the Nike shoes with the Zoom X foam. But that said, there is a really great amount of bounce in these. I would say that they are close, definitely closer in terms of the foam density to the likes of the Asics Metaspeed Sky and Edge Paris. They're not as firm as what you, they're not as soft as what you'd get in the Zoom X, but they are, definitely still feel soft and bouncy, but just not so soft and bouncy that you kind of sink into them. If you've worn the Alpha Flies or the Vapoflies, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about there. It feels like you kind of sink into the foam, whereas these, you feel like you're kind of bouncing as and when you put pressure on the foam rather than just sinking into it, which is a great feeling. But as I said, for a first run, aside from maybe the Asics Super Blast 2, from a first run perspective, these just felt absolutely amazing. This is the most fun and the most nicest feeling super shoe that I've ever worn as a first run. It was, bouncy, it was responsive, it gave me that energy return that I'm looking for. It got me through and kept my cadence nice and high, but without asking me to exert too much pressure. As I say, so much fun. This is the first time I've run actually in the last month where I've not felt particularly ill. I've had what's probably likely long COVID since early December, so I'm starting to come out the back of that now, and today's run with these, together with not feeling so unwell anymore, just felt amazing. Running at sort of 8 minute down to 7.5 minute or 7:15 per mile, these things just absolutely go. In terms of the upper, really comfortable, very breathable, had no hot spots whatsoever. The tongue is not gusseted, as I mentioned before, but what Puma have done really well here is they've put this really minimal amount of padding here, which fits just across where your laces will tie up across the top of your foot. Now, I've got a couple of pairs of super shoes that they don't have this padding, the New Balance Super Complete version 4, for example, where sometimes it can feel like it's a little bit painful if you've done the laces up too hard. This bit of padding here is absolutely brilliant because it actually just provides that minimal amount of padding that you need to make sure that you don't get any pressure on the top of your foot. So that's fantastic. The heel is really well protected. There's not an enormous amount of sort of additional cushioning there, but there is enough kind of additional support there to make sure that it feels like your ankle is well supported, and then the kind of structure and design here around the back just gives you that additional support through your heel. I got absolutely no heel slip whatsoever. They fit like a dream. I didn't have to do a runner's knot either. Didn't even actually have to change the laces almost at all, actually. Just put them on basically out the box. Got a tight, nice lockdown with these and went out, and they just felt like a dream. It was incredible. The laces, now I'm always much more of a fan of the kind of grooved laces that you get in something like the Asics Metaspeed, for example, if you can see that. Hopefully you can. So these are just kind of flat, bog standard laces. Not much to say about them really. They're kind of flat, so they are quite easy to get a decent lockdown, and it didn't have any feeling like it was going to come undone at all during the run, so that was good. So difficult for me to talk about durability at the moment, but these do have a very good reputation for being very durable. This is the first pair of Pumas that I've actually ever owned as well, so I'm not somebody that has an enormous amount of experience in Puma, but what I can talk about, because on the run I did today earlier, we've still got icy conditions in the UK. There was a bit of ice about, the pavements were quite slippery. The Puma grip is absolutely, I would say, class leading. I've always been very, very impressed with the grip that you get on the New Balance Super Comp Elite 4. The grip here is even better, I would say. I don't think I'm overestimating when I say that this is industry and class leading grip for super shoes of any manufacturer out there. So amazing job, Puma. Okay, so I think you can probably guess from the tone of this video so far that from a first impression perspective and from a first run perspective, I am absolutely thrilled and impressed with the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3. A very fast, nimble, lightweight super shoe that is going to be absolutely spot on for 10K and half marathon efforts, probably 5K too. Really, really fast. That low carbon plate design is going to really get you through your cadence and stride really, really quickly and bring you into your stride and out of it very, very quickly, which is consistent with what you see in the other kind of low carbon plate design shoes like the Vapofly and the Metaspeed Edge Paris. In terms of dislikes, absolutely none so far, but it is very early in the day, of course, so I will come back and do another follow-up review once I've done at least 50 or 60K in these. But so far, an incredible super shoe, and at £195, and I guess probably something similar in the US in terms of dollars. I think it's very, very hard to find another super shoe that represents as good value for performance versus cost ratio on the market anywhere today. So for me, these potentially will be the best pound for pound super shoes that you can get on the market today, which is a big statement, but I really, really stand by it. I was so impressed with this super shoe. As I mentioned, it's not a sponsored video, but it does sound overwhelmingly positive, so it is important I just let you know that no one has told me to say any of these things. Have you run in these? Do you have them? Do you think that my first impressions are consistent with yours? Let me know in the comments. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider giving the video a like. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. It really helps me as I try and grow this channel. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching the video. If you do have any questions or I didn't mention anything that you wanted to know about, then let me know. Drop a comment, I will respond to it. With that, have a great weekend and see you on the next video.